Knockouts in 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up? No, it is another Tuesday. This is Knockouts in 3 Counts. And man, we've got plenty to talk about today. We got a debut episode. We've got Tommy Grayson with us today. How we doing, man?
Whoop, whoop. Good to see you guys. How's it going? Thank you for having me.
All right. Can't complain about that. Shout out to my guy, Mark Roberts, as well, man. We got a lot to talk about, J-Bone. It is also fight week here in the D. I'll be in the press conference tomorrow for Clarissa Shields and at the fight this weekend and in the post-fight presser. So make sure you guys hit that button because we all know that you never know what Clarissa's going to say.
Or if you're going to get to walk out with her again.
That was dope.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, we walked Clarissa out to the ring last time with her and Papoose. That was pretty dope out there in Flint. So it's going to be interesting. This time she's got Rick Ross is playing her out to the ring, and then you've got Iceberg Bezo is playing out Tony Harrison. It's going to be wild times at Little Caesars. I'm going to get to know a little bit more about her opponent, and her fight, but we are here to get to know a little bit more about Tommy Grayson, man. Like I said, I was in attendance last week for the JCW versus GCW showdown and all that stuff. But before we get to that, tell me a little bit about the Backseat Boys. First of all, that name cracks me up all the time when I hear that. But at the same time, I've seen you guys at plenty of JCW shows and things like that for a while, with obviously us being based out here in Michigan. Talk to me a little bit about how the Backseat Boys came to be.
So the Backseat Boys came to be back actually in 1999. A gentleman by the name of Big 80s Don Bucci, who wrestling fans might know as the brother of Mike Bucci, a.k.a. Simon Dean, a.k.a. ECW's Nova from the BWO. His twin brother, who actually trained alongside him, was scouting talent. He was working very closely with Dennis Coralluzzo in the 90s with NWA New Jersey. Shouts out to Ara Becker, longtime Backseat Boys fan. She knows this story, obviously. Donnie B found 2 young men by the name of Johnny Cashmere. That's my brother to this day. And a young man by the name of Trent Acid, or Mike Verdi, rest in peace. And the original Backseat Boys, formed in 1999, would go on and have a historic career. They traveled the world. They appeared on WWF television. They were some of the first Ring of Honor tag team champions. They competed in what, in my and a lot of people's opinion, is the best cage of death match of all time, Cage of Death 5, with the suspended setup, and Trent Acid and Johnny Cashmere, of course, would both have legendary eliminations in those matches.
Trent Acid.
Always. Rest in peace, holy Trent Acid. Rest in peace, Trent Acid. Rest in peace, Michael Verdi. What's up? So
that's good, boys.
As many of you know, Trent passed away in 2010, and Johnny Cashmere would actually go into his first retirement after Acid Fest, which was a charity event held at the world famous ECW Arena, or Viking Hall, or 2300 Arena, whatever the fuck you want to call it. After that event, Johnny would go into retirement. My brother and I, our story starts, a little bit before that. We were 2 kids from New York who just grew up on professional wrestling and ICP and just fell into the rabbit hole that is, independent wrestling and Psychopathic Records and just the underground. And 20 years later, we're still fucking doing it. We had our first day of training September 6, 2014. First match, March 27th, 2015. We've been wrestling nonstop all across the country for 10 years. Really, we didn't become the Backseat Boys right away. We wrestled as the Amazing Graysons, which was a spin off of the Flying Graysons from DC Comics to avoid copyright. We kind of just took the Amazing Spider-Man and, Graysons from Batman and, just put it together like that. And of course, Amazing being a reference to, Amazing Jekyll Brothers, obviously. So we just took a little bit of everything, paid our dues along the way, wrestled everywhere we could. Wrestled in Alaska 5 times. That's where we met Nova. And then we met Johnny Cashmere at Nova's retirement match. That's how we came to be the new Backseat Boys. Was he saw something in us? We would go into hiding, and then we would eventually debut as the new Backseats in March of 2023. Before eventually settling on the Backseat Boys. We didn't want to jump right into being the Backseat Boys because a lot of people still held Johnny and Trent very close to their hearts. So, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but, how did the Backseat Boys start? It's been around just as long as Juggalo Championship Wrestling since 1999. So, you do the math.
That's one thing that I like about Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I remember the first JCW show I went to was at the Modern Exchange. It was my senior year of high school, right after I'd gotten my Achilles tendon cut and lengthened. And I'll never forget it as long as I live, because the Necro Butcher ran up and was about to smoke somebody with a light tube. And I'm sitting here with my leg propped up on a chair in the back on the red couch, and I'm like, well, fuck, I can't really get out of the way of this, so all I can really do is just cover up. And then later that night, rest in peace, I had the honor to be there to, commemorate Sabu at his funeral a couple weeks ago, but Sabu stabbed the fuck out of somebody with a stick that night. Yeah, man. Wild times. And to still be talking about that all these years later, man, it's dope to say. All right, so now that you guys are the Backseat Boys, that leads to question number 1. What would the ultimate Backseat Boys entrance be? Ultimate about people getting played out. So, like, who would you guys have do an entrance for y'all?
I think at this point, the only thing that would really make sense would be to have the Backstreet Boys record, the Backseat Boys, theme song. And it's funny you say that because, Joe Dombrowski, who I call, the voice of the Backseats, once said that the Backseat Boys resembled the Backstreet Boys on the Millennium album. So I feel like, it kind of just it has to happen one day just from an aesthetic standpoint. Me personally, if I were to have any band record my music, it would have to be 3 bands. It would either have to be Korn, Limp Bizkit, or Insane Clown Posse. Simple as that.
There you go. There we go.
And our current theme was, of course,
those I was going to say I've seen 2 out of the 3 of them in the last year.
Hell yeah! I've seen 2 out of the 3 of them in one night.
Now you one up me. You win.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Well, I was going to say the current Backseat Boys theme was actually engineered by Violent J. So take that for what it's worth. It's not an official Insane Clown Posse track, but he does have his hand in the creative process of a lot of the when Lunacy was first getting off the ground back last September. When we were doing the Train of Terror tour, I remember, we were able to just, come up with everyone's theme song just like that and everything like that. So, shouts out that.
I already caught a Faygo can over there. What kind of Faygo are you drinking?
This is Firework. And I also have
I've never had that
favorite Red Pop on hand.
Yeah.
Not the Red Pop.
Why are you hating?
Hold on.
Why are you hating?
Red Pop used to be like my top shit until I mixed it with the wrong alcohol one time. And
you burned it for yourself.
It's never been the same again, dude.
All right. Hear me out. I had that experience. I'm talking, this is maybe like my second time like getting lit. And I don't know nothing about mixing and everything. And we were just passing around a handle of, I think it was Crystal Palace vodka. And I just grabbed your eyes rolled. You were like, yeah, that's some New York shit. That's some bodega vodka right there. But I literally I grabbed like a Pepsi and mixed it together and just I couldn't drink Pepsi for like 6 months after that, so I get it.
It's crazy how that happens because I couldn't drink beer for a long time because
anytime I see Red Pop, like it's like, hello, old friend. I'm not ready for you yet, man. I'm not ready.
It's my favorite. It is the nectar of the gods, as Jim C would say, and just I love it. It's my favorite.
It is great. I got to give it another
All
chance.
Right. So does that mean that the Red Pop is your favorite?
I would say so. Yeah, it's definitely the one that I drink the most.
Kyle, you got a favorite Faygo? Corey?
Classic. I'll reach back in the category. I don't even see it on shelves no more. 60-40. 60-40 used to be my shit.
I still see that.
That's the one that was like squirt,
that's like the
right?
squirt one, right?
Yeah.
Squirt, yeah. That's an odd one, Corey. Actually,
I used to drink it. I used to drink it
like
all
call
day
me
long,
basic, dude. But like to be
that
fair,
or
like
Rock and Rye is always like the classic too. But
that's like the bubblegum one.
People like Rock and Rye, and what's the other flavor I saw in here? People like Rock and Rye. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite. I'll be honest, like. I'm pretty basic when it comes to the Faygo. Like around here, you're only going to catch it at the Dollar Tree, so it's like you're lucky if you're able to get a 4-pack of Red Pop. You know, usually it's like cotton
red
candy
or orange.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think of that. It's probably like
I like that
very
slim pickings.
New York. Yeah, out here it's like every gas station, corner store, Dollar Tree. You know, we got 12.
Oh yeah,
we got big bottles.
I got the options. Yeah,
I stock up every time I'm in like Detroit, you know, just because you know what I'm saying. But it's slim pickings out here. We did have the orange creamsicle flavor, which I think is new, and that's not bad. But I'm a less is more guy any day. It's like I like my I'm this.
Still a Moon Mist guy. I still like the Moon Mist or the
cream
soda.
Moon is good.
Moon Mist or cream soda for me, man. Every time.
Yeah, I like cream sodas.
I like this. I like Faygo root beer, and I like Faygo cola and Faygo fruit punch.
I was gonna say, to be honest, man, I'm like super simple. I usually get the cola when I get one too. Red Pop for Tommy.
There you go.
Shouts out my girl Val Jen. That's my homegirl. She attended her first Juggalo event, Juggalo weekend night too, which is right before my birthday actually. So
oh yeah,
yep.
Faygo, if you're listening, send us some fucking pop, would you?
I mean, we are only located in Michigan too.
I know we're right down the street, pal.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'll literally be in Detroit tomorrow. Like, you know. Anyway, but talk to me. So, were you always a ICP guy, and how'd y'all get linked up with them as far as wrestling wise?
I was always a Juggalo.
What up, though?
New York. It's like. There were opportunities to see them, but by the time I was really traveling out and everything, and doing the drives, like we had already started wrestling. So wrestling took precedent over going to concerts. I was always a Juggalo just, you know, because it's what I liked. It was my, you know, it was my and my brother's thing. Nobody else had it because we were in New York. There weren't other people that were out there repping the hatchet. They just weren't. And I went to high school during what I call the mall emo era. So I was totally I was on that, you know, I was a backpacker in New York when it was not cool to be a backpacker. You know, it was, everyone was on that swag shit. And I was just like, or everyone was on that mall emo shit. And I was just like, that ain't me. You know what I mean? I'm still living like it's 1999 to this day. So it's like, you know, that's just who I am. It's like, I like rock. I like new metal. I like heavy metal, and I like hip hop. But when I found ICP, it was like, that was, nobody could take that from me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like wrestling, like nobody, because wrestling was so niche at that point, nobody was into it. So I very much formed my own universe and my own fandom and my own like sense of like what's cool and what's not and everything like that. And then, you know, like I broadened my horizons. I got into more like, you know, like underground rap. I started, you know, like I saw Hobson like 3 times. I was on stage with him twice. You know, one of them was like the last ever, like literally right before Funk Volume split up. So it's like I'm the last person you would see at like a Summer Jam. You know, like I'm bumping some shit like that hasn't been bumped in like, you know, 20. You guys know, you guys are Juggalos. You know how it is. So anyway, we got into wrestling. That became our everything. You know, like I was fucking with music a little bit my first 2 years in college, but I like the behind the scenes stuff and the business side of music more than I can really contribute, so to say. Like I went to school for video editing. That was my passion and everything. So music was always like, I love music. It's just I'm not musically inclined like that. Like I could write raps, I could rap, but it's just it's not me. I would much rather was into listening to music and being on stage with Hobson. You know, that was cool, but my heart was in wrestling. My heart was our hearts were in wrestling, and we chased wrestling for so long that it's like that became our goal. And at the time, JCW was really only, you know, like they were touring, but the primary focus was the death matches and stuff. And that wasn't the route that we were chasing. So I would hear stories from guys like Jeff Cannonball, for example, about, you know, when he was wrestling for JCW at the time. And he said, you know, like, this is who you contact, whatever. And I believe I tried, you know, like reaching out and, you know, sending some stuff and whatnot. We didn't financially have it in us to go. And, you know, like at the time, go in the gathering and, you know, we were way too green. We would have got lost in the shuffle. So basically our wrestling goals were separate from wanting to make it in the ICP world at the time. Linking up with Jay, that was all my brother. You know, we literally, I think one day he shot him a message saying, this is when Jay was working with NWA at the time, said he really liked this promo. And then maybe months later, he finally got back. And then next thing you know, we had a show for Combat One out in Michigan. And we invited Jay out, and Jay came out, and we hung out. And from then on, you know, we stayed in contact. We were like, yo, like, just, this is where we want to be. Because it was a goal and everything. That was our first time out in Michigan, like on the real. And we have family in Cleveland, so it's not that we hadn't done traveling, but the New York scene is a bubble. For better or for worse, the tri-state wrestling scene is a bubble. And we hadn't gotten out of it completely unless it was to go do extra work or unless it was to go to, you know, like Wrestle Pro Alaska, for example, you know, places that we had our footing in here. Michigan was the first time we really like hit the road and went to some other place we had never been. And then sure enough, it became our home because, you know, when we showed up at Harpo's for JCW, we became JCW Tag Team Champions.
In a classic venue, I might add, Harpo's. We talk about that all the time. It's breaking down day by day, but we love the place.
Yeah, talk about blast from the past. That's for sure, man.
I feel like that one time we were at Harpo's, I feel like the ceiling was like it's trickling down on us, dude. Like it was the crowd was so loud in there, it was like powdering, just falling. Like, this is great.
Harpo's is still legendary, dude. It just definitely has seen better days. Speaking
better
of
management.
Better management, exactly.
I mean, we ain't with that. If you lurking at all, we ain't with that. Yeah. Fuck all that.
Fuck all that.
I'm hoping that just like the rest of the city of Detroit, it'll be on the rise here soon. Because Harpo's could definitely use a restoration, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, I got love for the ghetto, and the ghetto's all good, as they say. You know, it's just seen better days.
Yeah.
Just needs a little
look, man, it is what it is. It's one of those that it's famous, but definitely like Corey said, could use a pick-me-up. But speaking of pick-me-ups and things like that, man, we talked about the JCW showcase. But before we get to that, we got to talk about the invasion of GCW, man, which led to your ankle. So talk to me about that and what happened with your ankle and how's the recovery so far?
I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of the GCW feud, which will segue exactly into Backyard. So for those who don't know, this was announced a year in advance, much like Rock vs. Austin. So the JCW 2-day war can officially go down as having a year's worth of build. It officially really kicked off, though, in two different points, I would say. Hammerstein, when we showed up with Violent J, and Too Tough Tony in New York, of course, and Rep the Hatchet, and got some work in. And then, of course, America's Most Wanted, which was Sauga, Illinois, just outside St. Louis. You know, JCW as a showcase match. It was Backseat Boys and the Wraith, Hell's Pit, up against Brothers of Funstruction and Danny Moe. And, you know, that was cool. Let's go in. Let's show GCW what we could do here. You know, it was good. We had a good friendly match. Caleb Conley also repped in the night. The Rejects, John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley, took on Too Tough Tony and Mickey Knuckles with Violent J in their corner, and they got the W. And instead of being sportsmen about it, they rubbed their nuts and said, fuck you. So we were like, okay, fine, whatever, you know, cool. Like, we're juggalos, you know, it is what it is. Next day he's picking fights with his best friends, then he starts with the hugging again. You know, a dude with a Hell's Pit tattoo, you know, flipped the Duke off. So it's like, where are your fucking morals, guy? But then later in the night, Jay's performing, calls us on stage for Let's Go All the Way, and they got in our faces on stage. So I was sort of like, you could go and watch the tape, and it's like I'm swinging. I'm out there the entire time. I'm clearing house. I'm the last person to stop fighting. I'm the first person to, you know, like, be like, fuck you. Just because at that point it was like, yeah, we came into your house, but don't think that we didn't know what we were there to do, and that's represent. So we did just that. You didn't like that. You took it out on us. Then it got to WrestleMania week in Las Vegas. Team JCW ran deep at the clusterfuck. GCW didn't like that again. So once again, we never got eliminated, but we got some eliminations. You know, squad rolled deep. We got results. We took out Mexicools. We took out Microman. We took out New Roy, or whatever that guy's name was, the nasty Leroy guy. You know, we took him out. You know, JCW gets results when we work together. Problem is GCW, they got this foolish pride thing. So they came in, they got us out without even taking us out. Then it led to Atlantic City, where there was the 8-man tag. My brother and I ran it with light tubes. It led to a brawl in the street. Tony and Tremont were brawling all over the place. We were brawling all in the venue. I did the acid reflux off the rig through another table that didn't. I got the worst luck at this point with the acid reflux. So, you know. Anyway, bottom line, they fucking they locked us out of the venue. And then we started seeing a few of these GCW guys come into lunacy. You know, you've seen guys like Effie and Joey Janela and Dr. Redacted and Matt Tremont and Jimmy Lloyd and all these other guys who, you know, basically came in with Brett Lauderdale and, you know, just decided that, okay, you know, you guys came to our show. It's only fair. All right, it's only fair. But the problem is that they're sticking their nose in business that it doesn't belong in. We were having a match with Janela and Effie, and Jimmy Lloyd got in. And next thing you know, Brett Lauderdale's on the mic, and he's ordering his goons to beat up not just myself and my brother, but Mr. 50s, Mosh Pit Mike, the Brothers of Funstruction. You know, like, what, Too Tough Tony, like, what the fuck was all this about? So it got to a certain point where, you know, anytime we were on shows with these guys, whether they were on our turf, we were on their turf, nothing could get settled because some shit would always go down. You know, it's happened on so many shows at this point. It happened in Kansas City just after the last tour. You know, Mickey was wrestling, or I'm sorry, Tremont was wrestling Tony. Their match went to a no contest, allegedly. Then Mickey and Masha started wrestling. Mickey's getting choked out with a freaking cord. Like, how is that legal in any sense? And then next thing you know, it leads to a bunch of our guys and a bunch of their guys. And of course, you know, I'm full-time psychopathic, so, you know, I wasn't there. I had to do a concert, but, you know, I couldn't be there to back my team up. So I carried that chip on my shoulder. You know, the fact that shit really escalated when they decided that they were going to take us out. So I decided, all right, fuck it. We're going to take these guys out, which led us to Backyard. And miscalculation, 100% on my part. Deal was too far out, and acid reflux. Left foot went straight to the ground, and immediately I knew my shit was done. Thank God for Ruckus for getting me to the back. Thank God for Cashmere and my brother and Mosh Pit Mike and Cocaine for visiting me in the hospital. Thank God for, you know, the wrestling community for, you know, coming in and showing support and everything. But I'm going to be known as the guy who literally took himself out trying to take out Game Changer Wrestling. And, you know, there's a lot of mental bullshit that is kind of going on in my head right now because of this, on the real. You know, that's a shoot, that's not kayfabe. But I don't know. I guess what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I suppose. So, you know, people go through worse, I guess, but it definitely sucks that, you know, I couldn't get the job done.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, like we mentioned, there was the show that was here last week. It was the GCW and JCW showcase that went down at the Majestic. I was in the building. Shout out to our guy, Frio. J-Bone, I know you've been to some of the JCW lunacy stuff with me previously at Harpo's too, so you already know the vibes. But
it's a party, dude.
Did you
it's a party out there. I was just watching lunacy before we came on, man. And yeah, it is what we always say it is. It's a vibe out there, dude. It's a party, and JCW, they put on a great show. I love it. I love the design of it's so nobody like puts on a display like them. You know what I mean? Whether it's entrances, the ring, the venues, there's nothing like it. So, it like I said, it's a party. And if you ain't been there, you got to get there. You got to check it out.
Definitely agree. Dope vibes at JCW shows. But, Tommy, did you watch the show for the Majestic, or were you able to be at the Majestic, or were you, because I know you had
so I was actually at home. I was watching it live. I assisted in some pre-production before the show, helping put everything together behind the scenes. For those of you who don't know, Backseat Boys do work behind the scenes at JCW. So, you know, if that's letting the cat out of the bag, then it is what it is. But so I knew of everything that was going to be going down, but I was not made aware of what would happen at the end with, you know, Tremont capturing the belt from Pondo. I wish I could have been there. I literally just got my stitches out today and got a cast put on. So if there was an opportunity that I could have done that sooner and I could have been in Detroit, then possibly, but I'm trying to take it one step at a time and not rush anything. But I am aware of everything. Yeah, but I am aware of everything that happened on the show. You know, shouts out to all the JCW guys. You know, they worked their asses off.
It was good vibes, dude. I was down there with our guy, Steve GWC Moran was down there with me as well. A couple other listeners to the show. Somebody else reached out today when we put up the promo for this episode. Said they saw me somewhere in the Majestic. You know, the Majestic was bringing back the vibes, though. Shout out to my guy D, if you're watching this. We just got fitted for Nigerian robes for this wedding that I got to be in this past weekend. They're coming
awesome.
up. We did that. I have no idea how this is going to look, but, dude, this is going to be interesting. What do you mean?
But did you get the colors yet?
No, exactly. So we went down to this place. We went down to this place, like, in the hood for sure. And fucking that we were getting all like the measurements and stuff. Like we didn't like have to like put on the robes or anything yet. But like, bro, I got a feeling that this is going to be wild, but it's going to be dope. It's just me and D standing up with Kyle on that one. I don't really know how this is going to go. I assume we're wearing like one to the reception and like one to the, whatever, to the actual wedding. So this is going to be interesting. Definitely different than I've ever dealt with previously. Hey, man, it would fit in just fine at JCW Lunacy, man. But,
Hell yeah.
You talked a little bit about.
I don't mean to harp on the injury, but what's your timeline for being out?
So, I actually my follow-up appointment is actually the Tuesday after the gathering, believe it or not. So I should definitely be there at JCW versus GCW for Summer Smash, and I'm hoping to be at the gathering. I should be at the gathering. So my timeline right now is at about 4 to 5 weeks. The x-rays I got back today were good. Now at this point, it's just a matter of, starting physical therapy and then, progressing in physical therapy.
Come back stronger, as they say.
Hoping and praying.
You got to love it, man. Well, you talked about one of the things that we had to bring up from last week, man, the ending of that show. Now, for the OG listeners of Knockouts and Counts, you know that Madman Pondo is one of the first guests of this show, too. So, we rock with Pondo, and he rocks with our guy, Dale Patrick. So, shout out to, let's see. Do you think you'll keep acid reflux in your arsenal? Good question.
Ask me when I'm. Ask me later.
Up, yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I'm. Yeah. Kyle, go on with what you were saying about Pondo and Dale.
No, I was just saying Pondo is one of the OG guests of the show. But as you mentioned, at the end of that show, it was him and Matt Tremont from GCW. Matt Tremont walked away with the JCW strap and the GCW strap, and Pondo is already called to get his lick back. So, he already said he wants his rematch. He called his shot. What are your thoughts on how everything ended here in Detroit?
I mean, it was some fuck shit, simply put. Brett literally came from behind the commentary table and didn't even put the referee shirt on. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brett Lauderdale is, of course, former CZW referee, former independent wrestling referee. So it's not to say that he is not a licensed or experienced referee, but he wasn't the referee. So I know the show was called Lunacy, but the legality of that win, I don't know. I was shocked, I mean, Pondo literally just came back, just won that belt. And now, and now this. So Matt Tremont is officially the undisputed ultra-violent Juggalo Championship Wrestling World Champion. And I mean, I'm just stunned. I mean, was this the plan all along, Brett? Is this what you're trying to do? Are you trying to take all of our belts? Are you trying to take all of our guys? Are you trying to take over our company? Because, we could play games too, bro, and don't think we won't.
Hey, man, I love to see a little bit
like a
of
war.
Promotion on promotion crime this time of year. So, we talked a little bit about, I mean, hey, it's like Slugfest back in the day, you're heating up. But speaking of that, upon your guys' return, I'm assuming GCW has got to be the number one on the hit list. But after that, we saw here in Detroit a lot of talk about the tag team titles. You saw a lot of talk about the JCW titles with, the Brothers of Funstruction. We saw Jordan Oliver and our homie Alec Price in there as well. So what is your thoughts on the tag team division in JCW, and since we're talking about him, over there with Jordan Oliver and Alec Price.
So the tag team division at JCW right now, I mean, not counting my injury, keep the back seats in the fold, obviously. You got the Brothers of Funstruction. You got the Backseat Boys. You got the Outbreak. You got so many tag teams that are coming in constantly trying to, prove themselves. You got the St. Clair Monster Corporation. You got the alliance between Caleb Conley and Jeeves. You got so many options out. Too Tough Tony and Willie Mack. We got tag teams for days, and our roster rolls deep. Our roster is stacked. I'm remembering now, like more and more right now. We got Cocaine and Luigi Primo, or Cocaine and Mosh Pit Mike, or Mr. 50s and Mosh Pit Mike. The Outbreak. I said Outbreak. You got Cocaine and Stephen Flo Kane. It's like you got so many options and variations, and like toys to play with. So our roster is stacked. Our roster rolls deep. But the one thing we all are is that's a family. You got anyone that will be willing to go out there and put it all on the line for the sake of the company, no matter who they're facing. GCW, on the other hand, and since we want to talk about Alec and Jordan, the guys who I had that match with, they're talented as hell. I'm not denying that. But, man, do they pull some fuck shit. I don't think I've seen a tag team in GCW not pull some fuck shit. I mean, between Joey and Effie, Jimmy and Tremont, Jordan and Alec, whatever 44O is calling themselves now or something, I don't know. It's all alphabet soup to me, but sure, fine. I would love to wrestle. I mean, some of them I have wrestled, some of them I haven't. I mean, it's competition is competition. VNDL 48. There you go. Yeah, competition is competition. When I'm good and healthy, we'll see how tough you guys are, because right now all your battles have been fighting. You've been fighting them on some fuck shit.
Them sound like fighting words. J-Bone, we've become known to be a place that people come and hear shit, and then it always escalates. So we'll see what happens once.
Hey, you know what? Talk your shit, as we say. We give you a platform to do so.
I mean, I mentioned it at the top of the show, but speaking of talk your shit, I'm just saying I would bet Clarissa Shields is going to have a lot of shit to talk tomorrow.
Who?
Clarissa Shields, she's the GOAT. She's going to be fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship here at Little Caesars, live on DAZN this weekend. And we've also got Tony Harrison in the co-main. So it's going to be great to have some championship boxing back here in the city. She's got Rick Ross playing her out to the ring, and then Icewear Vezo will be out there too. So it's going to be a good time in the city, man. If you guys are of our fight fans, make sure you guys check us out tomorrow. I'll have some good stuff with that.
Tom, you get involved in the fight game at all? Do you watch any boxing, UFC, mixed martial arts, anything like that?
Every now and again. I'm not like a dedicated follower and everything, but I like to go online and see what the chit chat is about every now and again.
Right on.
Dude, all I know is shout out to Legends of Combat. We got to be on the call for that fight over there on Spectation Sports this past weekend. We had some great fights. Shout out to Abe the Killer Al Segir hopping back into the cage after a torn ACL and beating a UFC vet and Drew Fickett in the main event. Ethan Pauly getting himself a dub, getting a finish. I hear we're going back to Muskegon soon, so we're going to be talking about that. All kinds of stuff. Asa, it was good to see you at the fight as well.
You're not wrong. We'll talk about it after show. I caught somebody's Facebook post. Kyle, we'll talk about that later. You know what I'm talking about because you were on it. You were there. You were there too.
I feel like some of the better action at that fight might have been backstage, but that's a story for another time.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, man, it was good times fight wise. But with that being said, I think the question that I gotta ask, and it's a guy who, shout out to my buddy Pete. He's always asking me about this dude on the indies. Talk to me about wrestling a guy like Luigi Primo. How do you beat a guy who's just constantly making you want to be hungry and shit? Dude's out here flipping pizzas, and I don't know if he's auditioning for a Little Caesars commercial or what the fuck's going on, but Luigi Primo is entertaining to me. But talk to me about fighting a guy like him.
Oh, Luigi's hilarious, man. I mean, I had seen Luigi Primo online when he first broke out, and I remember thinking, man, this guy is just he you could tell that some guys are either going to be their 15 minutes of fame guys, or they're just going to be a flip in the pan. I was like, nah, look, there's something about Luigi, because yes, he could do all the character stuff and everything, but he's very fundamentally sound. And what I mean by that is some guys who, when they get a character in wrestling, it's like they forget how to wrestle. Luigi doesn't forget how to wrestle. And being in the ring with him, he's a fierce competitor. He could chain. He could grapple with the best of them. He could fly. He's insanely popular with the audience. So you want to talk about somebody who just knows how to channel just everything into their character and pull the very best out of each and every moment. That's Luigi Primo. I first met Luigi out in Canada. I was wrestling for the Megan brothers. They run private shows out in Canada. We were actually wrestling the Outrunners at the time from AEW. Luigi Primo was there, and we met him, and just got his contact, and was able to get him involved in JCW. And next thing you know, he's one of our most popular guys that we have. The crowd loves him. He's insanely popular with the crowd. I can't stress that enough, because I've been in the ring with him enough times to know that there's absolutely no love for anyone else if all they're chanting is pizza, pizza, pizza.
Oh, that's
you gotta love that.
Making me hungry. What the fuck?
I don't know. He stays so focused on that. I mean, fuck.
That's what I mean. It's
that's
like
concentration.
Yeah, wrestling a guy like Luigi has made me appreciate a lot more character-based wrestling, because you look at certain guys like the Boogeyman, and they have a very limited arsenal, but they put everything into everything that they do. Excuse me. They put everything into their movement, into how they walk, how they strut in the ring, the way they look at the camera and stuff like that. Same thing with Luigi Primo. There's not a moment in the ring, whether he's on the apron, whether he's running the ropes, whether he's he's always got that pizza in his hand, and he's always spinning it, twirling it. So
it's actually amazing.
Hey man, all I know is pizza sounds damn good about now. But we've talked about the injury. We've talked about JCW versus GCW. We've talked about favorite Faygo flavors. We've talked about a Backseat Boys entrance. We've covered a lot of the gamuts up here. When you're all healed up, I'd love to see you and JP try and capture the Horror Slam tag titles. Okay, yeah. I like
there
it.
We go.
Horror Slam out here in Michigan. Shout out to Briar.
Shouts out Richie boy.
Yes, sir. You talk about Caleb Conley and that guy Jeeves, man. Caleb Conley happens to be a past guest to this show as well. That was a dope chat with him, talking all things Juggalo related and heels related. But man, I don't know, man. Now that he's got Goldmane with him, J-Bone, we know all about Goldmane, bro.
Yeah, no, dude's a staple around the Detroit area, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything he's doing is good stuff, man. Love to see him.
He's doing something right. He's got the damn belt. So shout out to our guy, Caleb Conley. Hey,
those guys are my homeboys. In the ring and to the Juggalo audience, Caleb and Jeeves are two of the most despicable guys that we have. But behind the scenes, those are two guys that if you go to war, you want on your side. Caleb, of course, he's 20-year veteran in professional wrestling, appearing in just about every major company there is, from TNA to Ring of Honor, so many other promotions. And Jeeves, of course, is just one of the best up and comer managers / wrestlers that you're going to find. And he runs shows. I've always been a fan of the Jeeves. Good dude out of the ring. Both those guys are great guys out of the ring, and I think their promos together. I mean, Jeeves in general Jeeves has been one of my favorite pre-recorded segment guys to produce, just because you could literally give him anything and he'll go above and beyond it, not only delivering on it but making it hilarious. And just, if you go back and watch Lunacy, just go back and watch his promo that he has right before Mecha Wolf. First of all, the match he had with Mecha Wolf was
shout out to Mecha
dope.
Wolf.
Oh my god, Jeeves and Mecha Wolf in the Carolina. I was like, yo, this is actually you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it was one of those like quick 5-minute matches, but it was a good match. But the promo he had where I told him, I was like, just Joker steps, and he was like, got it, and he delivered it perfectly.
You gotta love it. Shout out to Caleb Conley and Goldmane. But all right, man, we got a few shows are a blast.
They are.
All right, so something tells me that you're going to add something funny to this list. So we have a segment on this show that we call Locker Room Etiquette. It isn't what you think. It's
my
not
favorite
trying
part.
to pick a prod or get things out of people or any of that thing of sort. It's, what are some of your biggest pet peeves? We've got, and now to give you an idea, we've had everybody from NXT's Josh Briggs to Damian Sandow, or now Aaron Stevens, to, we go all down from AEW, WWE, all of them. We always ask this. You get interesting answers. So if you have anything that would be a pet peeve or something that either is something that annoys you that people do in the locker room, or any piece of advice for younger dudes that are coming in like that you wish somebody would have told you.
Where do I start? Where do I start?
No. Honestly,
we tend to get a lot of them kind of reactions.
In all honesty, I've made just about every mistake that there is to make in the wrestling business. And I say that as somebody who realizes that you don't learn what to do right until after you do it wrong about 1,000 times. And then you're like, oh, okay, I do it this way. And then you still fuck it up. So mistakes are going to happen. Again, I'm 31. I started wrestling in high school. I started training when I was 20. So obviously wrestling has a habit of either growing people up or completely stunting them. Hopefully you want to land somewhere in the middle. That's my first piece of advice. Don't act like you're acting around your friends, because a lot of these people really aren't your friends. And even if they say they are, you're there to work. So with that being said, don't be loud. Don't be the person who always has to make an entrance in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, like if you're a newcomer, I'm sorry. If you're not in WWE, don't wear a fucking suit. You look like a mark. I'm sorry. It just I get it if you want to dress up. I get it if you want to feel important. It's not going to do anything to get you any more over with anybody. I'm sorry. It's just, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just because I don't give a fuck. Maybe I should be wearing suits, but for fuck's sake, if it's summertime and you're walking in a suit, what are you doing? If it's a JCW show and you come in a suit, like, I'm sorry, just know your audience. Know that's my number one rule. Know your audience, know your locker room, know who you're working, know who you're there to work. You shouldn't be there to work the boys. You're there. There's only one person that you really should be proving yourself to, and that's the promoter. Okay? Because the boys, they
don't.
It's good to have friends. Bingo. Bingo. don't work for the boys either. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is work for the crowd. That was another pet peeve, or that was another thing that, it took me a long time to realize, is that you'll impress the booker and the boys in the back if you impress the audience first.
Makes sense. I like that.
I like it. Another good addition to the list, along with bring your own squirt bottle, bring your own wish tape. What Ninja Max say? Don't be afraid to keep training and all those things. See, he's already got his on deck. He knows.
Here's a good one. Bring your own dude wipes. Bring your own.
I'm with that one. Let's go.
Have them.
Bring your own dude wipes. Bring your own dude wipes.
The big one.
Has there been any mention of brushing teeth in the locker room?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think. There you go.
I only asked because, like, I noticed, and trust me, hygiene is very important. I'm not saying that. Like, yes, bring deodorant, bring dude wipes, bring your towel, bring all of your shower totes and luxuries and your shower tokens and your sandals, and bring all of that. Okay. If it's needed. If not, have it on deck so that, and have a place to go and shower afterwards. Don't be the smelly person everywhere. Do not show up at any after party without being cleaned up and have after party clothes. That will get you heat more than anything in the world, is showing up to a post wrestling show, wrestling events, looking like you haven't even gotten out of gear. Okay. Don't be, all right. Matter of fact, with the boys matter of fact, this is my pet peeve. All right. If you're given a call time and you know that they're doing pre-tapes, yes, get in gear. But don't be in your gear any longer than you have to be if there's no reason to be in gear. In other words, if the show doesn't start till 7 and you're not doing pre-tapes, don't be in gear at 4:00. You look like a fucking idiot, especially if you're not wrestling until the main event. And if you wrestle the first match, get out of your gear. Unless you want to sell gimmicks in your gear. But don't, if it is 10 o'clock at night and you wrestled over 3 hours ago, get out of gear.
I like it.
You heard the man. Get out of gear, but we need you to get in gear and hit that motherfucking subscribe button so you don't miss any of the action that we've got coming. There's going to be some new t-shirts coming and all that good stuff. Like I said, a lot of good stuff coming from the Clarissa Shields fight. Tommy, the floor is yours, sir. Anything that you want anybody to know before we let you get up out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. For any local aspiring wrestlers in the tri-state area, you could catch the Backseat Boys at the Star Wrestling Academy in Mount Holly, New Jersey, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Contact Johnny Cashmere for all inquiries regarding that. Regarding JCW, upcoming events included but not limited to JCW versus GCW Powder Keg live at Summer Smash, SummerSlam weekend, August 1st, Rutherford, New Jersey, 11:59 p.m. Then, of course, we got the Gathering of the Juggalos, 0 Day, JCW live lunacy taping. That's Tuesday. JCW will be doing a live taping at the Gathering Tuesday. So for any of you early bird motherfuckers that want to show up and get parked, bright and early and whatnot, please do so and get your ass over to the JCW lunacy setup. Put down the huffing nitrous oxide and put away your butthole for 1 minute and come over and watch some wrestling, okay? And do me a favor, if there's wrestling going on, come to the wrestling. Bottom line, that's the rule of thumb this year at the Gathering. If there is wrestling going on, come to the wrestling. You got 4 days to whoop whoop and show butthole and do all that good stuff at the Gathering, okay? But I'm asking you personally to come to the wrestling this year at the Gathering, okay? JCW Lunacy taping live Tuesday. So pull up, get your Faygos, get your lawn chairs, get everything live. And if you're not there, peep it live on ICP's Facebook and YouTube. Then, of course, Wednesday, we got the JCW seminar. So all you juggalos who want to step in the ring and do whatever, that's where that's going down. Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, JCW versus GCW 2-day war. If you're there at the Gathering, your ass better be fucking watching the wrestling, okay? The only other reason you should not be watching wrestling is if Bone Thugs and Harmony is performing at the same time as the wrestling, but that better not happen. That won't happen. That should not happen. But other than that, if there's wrestling going on, you better be attending the wrestling. There's literally no excuse. I don't want to hear about the fact that you were off in camp, whatever, listening to some whatever. I don't want to hear about the fact that we're out here blasting our megaphones and picking up dookie dollars and whatever else it is that people go there to do and huff paint. No, come and watch the wrestling. You could do all that at any given time. And if you're not there, watch the 2-Day War live on Triller. Other than that,
you heard the man. Watch the 2-Day War. Corey, we got to head downtown this weekend. It's going to be a war at Little Caesars. Y'all got to stay tuned. Like I said, I will be talking with the GWOAT and her opponent, hopefully, Ms. Daniels from live from Little Caesars. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We will be back. This is Knockouts of 3 Counts. Buy you a motherfucking shirt. Peace.
Hit me up on
R.I.P. Ozzy.